It is Xbox Series and PS5 week. And we got news of this next edition of Neo Reality Collective. Now, there's not a lot of wrestling news going on, so this is mostly gaming stuff going on. There's like a couple of wrestling stuff, but mostly the wrestling is somewhat related to other stuff that's not really wrestling. Yeah, I was shocked as you are. So, we are today's Monday's episode 41, and the first big piece of news is that during AEW's media scrum that they do after every full gear, after every wrestling event, where they go ahead and be more transparent with the fans and the media and the journalists and give updates and whatnot. So as you all know, that AEW is going to be hosting a AEW Games 1.0 special event at, on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, at 11 at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? And subscribing to their new Twitter and YouTube channels. So I'm up for that. A Tony Khan, aka the guy who owns AEW, said in the post media scrum that AEW is actually working. That says multiple, like says AEW console game, and a general manager game are in the works. So so this is what Tony Khan had said. I can't say much, but too much. We're making multiple games. We're working on more than one game in AEW games, and we're going to cater to multiple platforms. We're going to cater to different kinds of games and different interests. I think we'll put a title out, a console game that's best in class for a console game. We're really excited about it. In addition to a traditional console game, Khan spoke about the booking simulation style game that is apparently in the works, which they did recently trademark Elite General Manager as well as similar terminologies. We're going to put something out for those people like myself that love putting wrestling cards up together and love to be in the position that I am, and which is the general manager of AEW. There's going to be a few different titles. Then I don't think we're going to stop anywhere either. I think we're going to expand here at AEW Games because it's a great chance to introduce gaming fans to AEW, introduce AEW to gaming fans, expand and build a business. That's a lot to come from there. So I was thinking to myself, so mobile games, PC games, I get that. But for the big console PC game that serves as their flagship, like WWE had WWE series, I think that they should make one game for the entire generation of consoles. So this generation of consoles, they should have an AEW game that's not just a roster update, essentially, and does not have microtransactions, hopefully, but like if they like spend the whole generation with this one game where they can make updates, they can make expansion packs, and if they make a super massive DLC, I'll gladly pay extra if it means for that. This is just my opinion on the situation. Instead of making a yearly installment year for year like 2K's games and the previous WWE games were, which has led to rush development and is essentially just roster updates with maybe some minor things put together and some features that are interesting in theory but aren't really being used to their full potential. So I'm hoping, and the general manager mode, I'm all for that. They've been saying is apparently it's going to be like total extreme warfare or TEW. So yeah, that's awesome. I play a lot of that. So we'll probably get new content in the future. Look forward to tomorrow. I will cover that, and I can't really say much about that since I really don't know what else is going to happen. Leo Rush has been cast in an upcoming Power Rangers movie. So, as part of the Wrestling Inc. Daily podcast, they had broken the news that Leo Rush revealed that yes, he's going to play a part in the new Power Rangers movies, Legend of the White Dragon, that will feature members of the original Power Rangers series like Jason David Frank. So yeah, Leah Rush just got a big break, hopefully, in the movie industry. Though we'll have to see how that goes. But I'm excited for him. I don't really am interested in Power Rangers. I'm just not. I've just never been interested in that series. So yeah, good luck for him. I'm not gonna see it probably. So Adventure Times. Adventure Times, Distant Lands, Obsidian trailer reveals. release window. So part of the HBO Max's war for content power using the original IPs have announced that Adventure Time's Distant Lands and Come and Hang with Your Friends or something, Obsidian, and as part of their big epic event, uh, as part of a series of specials, also continue the series. Obsidian recently confirmed the second special's release date on November 19th on HBO Max. The upcoming special will focus on Marcin the Vampire and the Princess Bubblegum as they team up to defeat a revived enemy from the Glass Kingdom. Those bastards. So, yeah, we'll have to see where that goes. And see how this saga unfolds. So, yeah, I stopped watching Adventure Time because I felt like they were going one route that would have actually been very interesting, and then they didn't. And I was like, well, that kind of sucked. Like, there was so much route hints and suggestions and questions that never really were answered that I felt like, oh wait, how do certain characters act like this? And then when you see a character that's based off them, they have a darker personality, like Princess Bubblegum and her clone thing where it ended in complete disaster because the clone was, trying to mind control everybody, and you're left wondering, wait, but that's a clone of you, apparently, you said. Why does it have a delusion of grandeur of controlling everything and everyone and controlling them without free will? Do you mind explaining that, Princess Bubblegum? And they never get into that. So, yeah, I thought that sucked, honestly. The fact that they never brought that up and how certain stuff that should have been brought up just never did. So, yeah. I'm probably not going to watch. But tragically, as part of our continue what the fuckery 2020, Scooby-Doo co-creator Ken Spears has tragically passed away. Co-creator of the beloved animated series Scooby-Doo, who has passed away on Friday. He has confirmed today, it seemed, at the age of 82. Yeah. It was told by his son, and Kevin Spears told Variety he has passed away. Yeah. 2020 just sucks. Just really sucks. Just tragically sucks. So, trying to move on to hopefully more positive news. James Gunn has tweeted out this lovely gift from my friends at Xbox. Of course, it's in the busiest time of my life between two movies and a TV show, but perhaps I'll find some downtime as I begin my mandatory 2-week quarantine here in Canada for Peacemaker. So he just basically revealed that, that he's been given an Xbox Series X that not only has a special custom engraved to it, it has the engraved with his name in a recent post. The bastard. So, yeah, Gunn is a busy man, and now he gets to have a console before everyone else. Lucky. Though I'd be surprised if he finds time. He even acknowledges I'll be surprised if I'll find time. I mean, because he said that he's busy with 2 movies and a TV show, which is Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Peacemaker. So insane that it's insane that even before it happens, before it comes out tomorrow, he's already being guaranteed stuff. Must be nice. So Sony has revealed that the recording functionality the PS5 possesses, and which is a definite improvement for the PS4, or PS5 begins its international rollout on the 12th, and while that date fast approaches, Sony's revealing new details now in an extensive FAQ on PlayStation blog. There is the create button, and PlayStation 5 will automatically capture the last 60 minutes of gameplay, well up from the PS4's 50 minutes. When you press the create button, you can choose to save recent gameplay to capture it. You could choose the full 60 minutes or as little as the last 15 seconds, depending on what you want to capture and share. By default, footage is captured with 1080p with 60 frames. However, if you want to manually record a section of gameplay, meaning that you can start with the recording yourself, you can capture at 4K. That means that getting higher quality footage requires slightly more forward thinking. In settings, you can select the manual recording resolution if your TV is connected to a 4K television or monitor, and choose between 1080p or 4K resolution. These settings will remain until change, or the PS5 is connected to a different TV. As with the PS4, you can easily capture screenshots too and start stream from the Create button. Screenshots and videos are stored in the Media Gallery, where they can be edited, shared, and copied to USB. From a USB, they can be transferred to other devices. Screenshots can be saved into a JPEG or a PNG format, and it's possible to grab 4K screens. PS5 will also support HDMI-based capture devices as long as HDCP is disabled. Unfortunately, videos from PS4 cannot be transferred to PS5. Boo! Oh. So, yeah, as part of this whole expansion, like Sony's being more of the creating content kind of deal, well, for YouTubers, Twitch streamers, and all that. Yeah, considering what they revealed recently, that's not going to be enough to convince a lot of people to probably buy them. But so anyways, Assassin's Creed Valhalla comes out soon, and yeah, so Assassin's Creed Valhalla is one of the first major game releases to acknowledge the ongoing pandemic. An email from one of the game's modern day segments included a message about the virus saying this, where the message reveals this: I don't have COVID, no, and I'm well isolated. It's just the three of us traveling together, staying out of sight. As shown in the email in the Assassin's Creed modern day setting. So this is the first major release to mention the pandemic, which means that this game's modern sections will be automatically dated by probably 2 years. So it is weird that they're doing this, and yeah, there's more to the COVID regarding the gaming industry, which was weird, but I'll let you know when that happens. But like the other games that have made references, including the recent Tony Hawk game, a message board in the remarks for remakes for school level says the schools are closed and that parents need to pick up their kids' personal belongings. The pandemic wasn't mentioned outright, but it's clearly referencing that. So we'll have to see where all this goes, and we'll have to see how this continues. Funimation's app will be ready for your Xbox Series X and PS5 in time for launch. So yeah, it's coming your way. Look forward to that, everyone. So yeah, I don't really use the app, but I do have content saved from my digital folder that I buy anime movies and Blu-ray. I recently got My Hero Academia stuff, and well, I got the content for the digital code. That's the biggest money-making thing. So I got that, and we'll see how that turns out for fans who want to see an up to 4K resolution, baby. So The Rock has announced that he is teaming up with Microsoft to give away Xbox Series X consoles to children's hospitals. The Rock has teamed up with Microsoft and Gamers Outreach to help over 50,000 kids experience next gen. So 20 years ago, after Dwayne The Rock Johnson helped unveil the first Xbox in the world, he is teaming up again to help children in hospitals around the U.S. by giving them a console. Insane. So he wrote a tweet saying, 20 years ago, Bill Gates and I debuted the first Xbox to the world. Now Microsoft and I have surprising some brave and awesome kids. With Gamers Outreach, we are gifting 20 children in hospitals one-of-a-kind Rock Xbox Series X consoles for 50,000 kids. Damn. Nice to know that like, man, pretty awesome, man. Pretty awesome. Amazon says, sadly, some Xbox Series X pre-orders won't arrive until the end of December. No. Getting a contacting from some people saying on Twitter, saying this: We're contacting you with an update regarding your order for the Xbox Series X. We expect to ship your console in the coming weeks as we receive more inventory in November and December. At this time, we anticipate that you will receive your Xbox Series X by or before December 31st. We are making every effort to get it to you as soon as possible. Apologize for any inconvenience. God damn it. This is why. Oh god, Amazon, you've royally screwed up big time on this. This should have been preemptively planned ahead of time. I mean, wow. So Vin Diesel will return in Bloodshot 2 for the sequel. Yeah. So Valiant Comics' Bloodshot series is getting a sequel movie, and it's because of strong rental and home sales for the original Bloodshot led to DMG Entertainment to greenlit the sequel. Yeah, it opened in theaters in March 2020 on the worst box office weekend America has seen in 20 years due to the beginning of the pandemic. So yeah, it was like a lot of people say there was not some it wasn't a good movie. I don't know about that, but yeah, the timing was just bad. This was the beginning of the pandemic, and then the industry pretty much collapsed. The theater industry collapsed essentially at this point. I'll be amazed if there even is a continued industry after 2020. But yeah, Bloodshot. So Bloodshot, the comic book. Yeah. Yeah, it's part of the Valiant universe. I don't read that. I've been thinking about getting into it, but I just never find the time to really go into depth with it. So we'll have to see one day if I ever make video content about that. So Sony revealed, as part of their effort to continue scaring people, that their console for the PlayStation 5 was apparently much bigger than they originally than the one we're getting. Yeah, that somehow was capable of happening. So yeah, at 15.4 inches tall, the PS5 dwarfs the competition pretty easily. It outsizes the Xbox Series X and even the hefty Xbox One by a good amount, as well as past Sony systems like the original PS3, which is saying something. And then in the PlayStation, and then in an interview with the Washington Post, PlayStation 5 designer said this: "I knew it was going to be large because I know how much power there was going to be, so I knew how much airflow you would need and how much space for a heat sink. We wanted to get it much smaller, so it's the perfect size right now." Uh, yeah, and yeah, yeah, yeah. He revealed that while the hardware may dictate the size, the actual design form was for aesthetics. But they did admit that this was originally much bigger somehow. Like, oh god, how do you do this? It's saying this. It's kind of funny that engineering actually told me it's too big, so I had to actually shrink it down a little bit from the first drawing. Oh damn. Uh, what was it supposed to be 20 inches big? Like, uh, like that's just weird for me. Like nowadays technology, remember when technology was these massive big things that were big deals in the 40s? You had these massive supercomputers that had to take up entire rooms, and now those computers pale in comparison to the phones in our pockets. It's like we have the internet on our phones. They are more powerful than the big humongous supercomputers. Even calculators are bigger or more powerful than they were back then. We're just saying a lot about how far technology has come, and yet oh god, PlayStation was like, we must be bigger and bigger. Like they were trying to make a PS5 on steroids. Man, like even the Series S has more power to it faster loading time for what I've heard. So that's saying something. And the Series S is small. Like, you can't tell in the background small. So, a Quiet Place spin-off in the works with the Midnight Special director, John, I can't pronounce his name, worked on the story, but Jeff Nicholas will write and direct. A third movie in A Quiet Place franchise is in the works from Jeff Nichols, who's the director of Midnight Special, and is targeting a 2022 release date. And John, whatever last name, Krasinski, is also tasked to produce the spin-off. So Nicholas, who directed Mud and Loving, he will write and direct the movie from the idea. Details about the story are still under wraps, but Hollywood Reporter describes the movie as a spin-off rather than a direct sequel to part 2. So I don't watch horror movies that much. I just don't. I'm just shrug off essentially on it. So yeah, I have no feelings whatsoever. So yeah, I just generally don't have feelings on the movie stuff. So, good news for Spider-Man fans. So, Spider-Man PS4 is going to get an update announced on Insomniac Games' Twitter account saying this: "We have heard you. In an upcoming update for Spider-Man PS4, we will add the ability to export your save to Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. This update will also add the 3 new suits for Remastered to the PS4 game. We expect you to bring this we expect to bring you this update around Thanksgiving." Yay! So, yeah, yeah, Spider-Man is gonna have the update. It's gonna let you export your saves and whatnot, and make and even now, this is my hope for a certain trilogy of games that get you export your save files. But I don't want to mention what game yet because that will come later, my friend. But yeah, I'm excited that they're doing this, so we don't have to restart the whole thing just with a remastering, like Peter Parker's rearranged face to look a little bit more like Tom Holland. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. So be happy about that. But we can also be pissed about what was announced, what was revealed. So Sony discussed raising its prices of games. So we know it's good. The Sony first party games are going to go ahead and be $70. Boo. And Microsoft already won that because they're going to be $60 as currently. But Bloomberg has revealed that an even bigger jump was discussed. The report doesn't reveal how much higher Sony discussed going, but the idea of going beyond $70 a games come from game executives that wish to remain anonymous when speaking to Bloomberg. So Sony basically said, "How can we fuck people over?" I was like, "Oh god damn it, Sony, you would need." So like, okay, Spider-Man Miles Morales is $50, yes, but certain first-party games Sony owns are going for a $10 hiking, and some third-party games for the PS5 are moving to the $70 format. But yeah, when the hearing that Sony actually did consider raising its price more than just $70, like, you gotta remember, now this is an industry right now that has multiple monetization, that has monetizing our premium platform games. We have an industry with deluxe, super ultimate platinum, gold, diamond editions, and that are much making it more expensive. We have those super mega collector's editions that come with awesome statues and collectibles, which I definitely do not collect statues or anything. Definitely not. Uh, so the fact that Sony was like, "Hey, let's make the standard version of the game much bigger in price, but not really justify it." Like, I heard from some people that some of these games don't really do as much monetization, like say an EA or Activision. Oh God, but I would probably, I will gladly buy a $70 to $80 game if it meant no microtransactions. That's how desperate I'll get. Now, if it goes up to 90 and 100, then then we're gonna have an issue. Like free to play games, I get monetization, but premium games like what they try to do and what EA does or what NBA 2K20 did and whatever so many other games do, it's just so pissing people off and very unethical and whatnot. Like EA courtly lying at a hearing, getting surprise mechanics. So Netflix has a dark, evil, twisted plan. The next step up in content creation. Netflix is testing out something big, dubbed Netflix Direct, which will offer subscribers real-time scheduled programming for the first time. Wait. So, a channel, a TV channel, a scheduled TV channel with a schedule on it. Okay. Yeah, that's weird. The report notes that Netflix Direct had a soft launch in France. Yeah, I'm pretty sure France, with their lockdown going on, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be, yeah. So, with a broader rollout of the service expected across the country next month, Netflix said it chose this location to test out the company's first linear channel because of the consumption of traditional TV in France. Yeah, definitely not because France is locked down. They're bored. Everyone's gonna be freaking out and going crazy. So we need something to distract them. So here's a linear Netflix channel. Whether you are lacking inspiration and whether you are discovering Netflix for the first time, okay, everyone and their grandmother knows who Netflix is, what Netflix is as a company and as a platform. Now, I'm not saying all of them are subscribed to it, but it is kind of guaranteed at this point that, yeah, they know what Netflix is. It's kind of stupid. It's kind of weird to imagine, like, unless the kids that or the super 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 old people that were like back in my day kind of shtick. But like everyone knows what Netflix is at this point. It'd be amazing if no one did. So yeah, as part of this whole Netflix Direct, they basically come up with how they're going to be let yourself be surprised by the surprise diversity of Netflix's library. Yeah, especially cuties, which is pissing a lot of people off still, I think, and cancel projects. So yeah, they're trailing in France right now, so, and perfect timing too, it seems, because lockdown due to the virus and, well, the spike in cases, people are going to be more in home now, so why not exploit that current crisis? He's just to say, France is locking down, and the UK might be soon to follow. Germany looks to be heading towards it too. Okay, everyone, prepare our initiative. Linear channel streaming service. So the Dark Pictures anthology House of Ashes, the Ashes, is going to be a horror game set in the Iraq War, and it's coming next year. But God. Iraq 2003. A press release for House of Ashes reads, as the conflict draws to a close, CIA field operative Rachel King joins an elite military unit in a raid of suspected underground chemicals weapons facility in the shadow of Zargos Mountain. Once King and her unit arrive at the coordinates, they're ambushed by local patrol led by Sergeant Salem Ahmed, and an earthquake opens sinkholes in the ground during the ensuing firefight, and both sides are tossed into the ruins of a buried Sumerian temple. The Sumerians, they've unleashed hell. In the darkness beneath the Arabian desert, something evil has awakened. The press release reads, and ancient and unstoppable creatures begin their hunt. The bastards. They've unleashed hell. So, get ready for hell in Iraq, especially around that time. So, good luck with that. So, as part of PS5's continued weirdness, there's going to be a PS5 update that will allow consoles to output 8K resolutions. Um, why? Like that, like, it's been repeatedly said that it looks like the 8K stuff is unlikely for now because to be the new normal. Well, especially even the most budgeted 8Ks TVs are $4,000, and the best ones are 9,000 or beyond. How does this work? In fact, who even owns 8Ks besides the ultra rich or those who win contests? And also, to further confound the issue that Sony is a complete idiot, yes, right now, as part of their war against external forces of unknown reasoning, about as reasonable as WWE's war on third parties. So, yeah. New PS5 facts and questions covers a current issue with storing PS5 games on external USB hard drives, saying a future update could allow that process. But they said no, players cannot transfer PS5 games to USB drives. Can I store that? When asked, can they store that in them? PS5 games must be stored in the console's internal ultra high speed SSD for gameplay. Explorations for allowing players to store but not play PS5 games on a USB drive in the future update are underway. So here's the thing I'm going to just say, if this makes a lot of sense. But Microsoft does it before all this. How is it that Sony did not plan this ahead? Like I said this to someone, it feels like Sony did this, we're planning with the PS5, then gave up halfway through. We're like, okay, everyone, we got our plans and charts here. I forget it. I quit. Like, did someone leave that impacted the development? Like, that would make so much sense. I'm thinking to myself, why? Like, I'm not saying like, oh, well, I should be happy there's at least going to be an update. Here's the thing: when you're announcing a new console, first impressions are important for sales. If you make a bad first impression, especially with a lot of the shady stuff, like Microsoft has $60, Sony has 70 first party titles, and telling people, oh, Konami said fuck all of you and removed PT, and then you got now you get the external stuff about hard drives and whatnot, and how they're now doing their own version of a Seagate expansion card, and how now they're saying you can't put them on external hard drives because reasons, and saying, oh, we can just update that later down the road. But this is a first impression. There's a reason why I buy the consoles of Sony nowadays very late, because it feels like everything, because mostly because one, money reasons, and also two, if I had to make the best guess, as I subconsciously don't do it till way later in the game when that was the best word to describe it. Oh, that's right. Because this console doesn't have the proper updates needed that the Xbox has, and while Sony can say, "Hey, we have awesome exclusives like Final Fantasy 16," and yeah, considering how much storage is only at 667 gigabytes, when you promised 825 or at least a good fraction enough of it, that is going to eat up really quickly, and we need external powers to go ahead and store more content for us. But to say we are not going to do that because we can't do it right now because reasons, instead of planning ahead or coming up with basic concepts of or even like I don't know, probably delay the game for delay the console for an extra month. I know you want to fight Microsoft, but you gave yourself a 2-day week advantage. Might as well just do a month, then get everything right. I'm just I'm trying to offer ideas here, man. And when the PS6 inevitably happens, let's hope they do a much better first impressions launch. So, Halo 4 is coming to Master Chief Collection on PC in November 17th with a fully remastered campaign. Yeah, what does that mean? What does fully remastered mean against um what does that mean? I like does that mean there's gonna be extra content? Like then I don't really get what they're going for. What do they mean by remastered campaign to embark against new foes? Okay. This is strange, isn't it? Like if this is because of retcons that were done, then okay. Like Halo 4 is probably the most pointless game in the series at this point because a good chunk of stuff in Halo 4 was never followed up in Halo 5. The only one was Cortana's death, but even then, they never talk about the events surrounding it. They never say, "Hey, remember when we fought the Didac and his army of Forerunner Prometheans? Yeah, that was insane, right?" But then they were like, "Hey, when did that happen?" Because all that stuff happened in tie-in books and comics. And when you're hearing people say, "Read all this to understand the lore, the universe of the games," and it was like, okay, why is there not a codex in the game telling me this? Or, follow up on that. Maybe make a Halo story content and like maybe you could have done Spartan Ops and make that because a lot of stuff in Spartan Ops was essentially tie-in material for the comic books that came out, like Escalation. So the strange thing that happened, um so apparently, earlier today there was word going around that COVID-19 that a company, I can't pronounce his name, Pitts Pfeiffer BioNTech, have developed a vaccine with an apparent 90% effectiveness, has begun to spread around 8 a.m. Eastern time, which was today. ICO Partners CEO Thomas, I can't pronounce his name, then noted that at around the same time, the stock of CD Projekt Red, it's Ubisoft had dropped sharply over their earlier levels regarding their stock prices. The same effect seems to also go to the likes of Take-Two, Unity, EA, and Activision Blizzard. It must be noted that those drops aren't as precipitous as the day one graphs make them look. When placed against most gaming companies' yearly stock levels, the drop is far smaller than 2020's overall gains. So I think, if I'm correct, that apparently that gaming's prices stocks dropped out of nowhere because when the COVID vaccine was potentially revealed, oh praise be, um, gaming lost possibly the biggest revenue stock because let's be honest, out of every industry that benefited off of this was the gaming industry because they almost 90% of the games were already done or were very close to completion. They just had to stay home and worked on it and send the files over to someone else to get the full finished product. So yeah, like a couple of games got delayed. I get that, especially Cyberpunk and what they did. But that's ultimately what happened. Like like a lot of games came out this year, and they do benefit off of people being home, especially now with cases rising again. But yeah, that's what happened. Where I'm glad a vaccine may finally be coming, though we might have to wait a little bit longer as testing has to keep going, even if it's a 90% effectiveness. But good news is on the horizon. Starting today, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers will be able to activate a 30-day free trial of Disney Plus. As announced on Xbox Wire, this trial will be available to be activated through Perk Gallery on an Xbox console, Xbox app on Windows PC, or through the Xbox Game Pass mobile app on iOS and Android. Once activated, users will be taken to the Disney Plus site to activate the subscription. This offer will only be available until the 31st of January 2021 and will be able to be redeemed anytime before March 2nd, 2021. Furthermore, is only available to new Disney Plus subscribers, and the trial will renew at $6.99 a month until you cancel. Woo! So, Microsoft teamed up with Sony. Microsoft teamed up with Disney, so get ready for that. But Xbox's massive plan for gaming domination and the Gamers Are Everyone initiative. If Xbox is looking to purchase Japanese game development studios, it has been contacted with both small and large. According to a report from Bloomberg, there are several Japan-based game developers. There's a variety of sizes have been approached by Microsoft to talk about acquiring their business. Developers asked not to be identified at this time due to the private nature of the talks. Sources of Bloomberg make it reasonable to suggest that Microsoft is scoping out a potential new Japanese developer to bring under its wing as part of the Xbox Game Studios brand, even after recently acquired, ZeniMax for $7.5 billion. Again, in response to the reporting, Xbox business lead in Asia, Jeremy Hinton, told Bloomberg that Microsoft is always open to discussions with creators that are a good fit. Acquisitions are a possibility, but there are no announcements to share at this time. Well, they don't have anyone on mind. They just were like, hey, do you want to come work with us? Permanently. So, yeah, it seemed to be a concentrated crack to crack the Japanese market, a region which Xbox has had a complicated history with. A recent rumor that Microsoft was planning to buy Sega started to circulate in the wake of Bethesda deal, though that very much is unfounded for now. So do take that with a massive pinch of salt. Massive pinch. So, yeah, it would be interesting where they go with this, as Xbox has been trying to break into Japan a lot more, but consoles end there rather quickly because Sony has such a strong foothold. What's the best way to describe it? It's like if WWE tried to form NXT Japan in Japan, where New Japan has a strong foothold, and they think they can take on the domestic company based place because they're the foreign company. Yeah, that's essentially what this is. It's never gonna happen like that. At best, you'll barely survive. So, after many rumors and leaked retail listings, Mass Effect Legendary Edition has finally been announced for spring 2021. Announced on N7 Day, a day where BioWare and all fans celebrate all things Mass Effect, this remastered version of the trilogy will be together in one collection for the Xbox One, PS4, and PC. It will also have 4 compatibility and targeted enhancements for Series X and PS5. Your choices, your squad, your shepherd. Relive the legend in a remastered edition of the highly acclaimed trilogy, Mass Effect Legendary Edition Rise, spring 2021. They will also include all the single-player based content DLC from all the trilogies with all the promo weapons, armors, and packs, and will be remastered and optimized for 4K Ultra HD. VP Studio GM of BioWare Casey Hudson said that the team of BioWare's goal was not to remake or reimagine the original games, but to modernize the experience so that fans and new players can experience the original work in its best possible form. So, yeah, I love Mass Effect. I even enjoyed Andromeda. Take it out what you will. But I do, so I have one opinion. So, am I excited? Yes. Do I think that they should have done this by now? I'm amazed they have taken this long. But there's some things I'm a little worried about. One, it's EA now. It's Mon BioWare. But at the same time, it's not the B team they hired at BioWare. But, what's the best way to describe this? I'm hoping that they don't do what Activision did, where they make Modern Warfare Remastered and monetize the hell out of a remastered product and whatnot. They have said the DLC will come with it, so that's one thing off the list, but what's stopping it from monetizing it? And my other hope is that they allow us to either with the original game, we can send the files over, or they can go ahead and give us use the Mass Effect Archives.com site to finally transfer stuff over to for us to play the games in the way we want them, and establish our accounts that we connected with the original Mass Effect trilogy to, update and like give ourselves the more updated feel to it, right? Like a free update upgrade to it. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm hoping it works out well, but I will say this: that wasn't the only thing that was talked about on N7 Day. A new Mass Effect project is in the development at BioWare with a veteran team. As part of the Legendary Edition announcement, they have announced alongside with it a new game that will feature a veteran team from BioWare and will be the next chapter in the Mass Effect universe. While BioWare isn't sharing any more details, they did share an image that gives a tease for the future of Mass Effect. Now, let's see if I can get this. Get the best size possible at the highest quality. Sure, content. Content! Damn it! Okay, let's see. Come on. Show folder. Okay. Yep. This is apparently the concept art they show that shows is the future of Mass Effect. So we'll have to see where this looks at. But I am looking forward to this game, and especially if it's made by the original team. I'm just hoping it's super good and actually picks up the story from Andromeda. So yeah, we'll have to see where that goes. I'm excited. I'm hoping for big things for the next game. So we'll have to see how that goes and see how it does. And the announcement, they have said that it's very early in development, since they're focusing on the remaster. Then they'll focus fully on the new game. So there is something, finally, one last piece of news. This was originally going to be a separate video, but I decided to merge it with this one for something else. So Bleeding Cool is apparently suggesting in an article saying that there's going to be in March a DC Omniverse special. So this is what the article reads: what can we expect from March's DC Omniverse special? For a start, it won't be called the DC Omniverse special unless I'm a genuine soothsayer. That's just the name I'm using for what it is coming. Just as was what we called the Band-Aid became Convergence, but we know a little about it. This is written by Rich Johnson. In the matter of DC Rebirth, it will be a one-shot to relaunch the DC Universe in March, following Super Future Stay in January and February. Like Rebirth, it will be a relaunch, not a reboot, but will include some dialing for continuity. And like the Rebirth special, it will not be one by one creative team. Instead, it will be closer to Marvel Comics exploring volumes, Marvel Now, and Incoming, a narrative structure holding lead-ins into all manner of books that will be relaunching from March onwards. As before, some titles will keep the numbering, others will not. Others will be entirely new books, but there will be a fewer than before. Expect the big writers names Scott Snyder, James Tyrion IV, Brian Michael Bendis, Jeff Johns, and Josh Williamson. And he also says be on the lookout for the likes of Tom Taylor, Ram V, C. Spencer, Jolie Jones, Brian Hill, John Ridley, Mariko Tamaki, Sean Gordon Murphy, and probably Tom King as well. Well, and they said, as stated, stated previously, the plan is to introduce a looser continuity to the DC universe, known as DC Omniverse, as recently teased in Rise of the New God. But that's only going forward. The intent is that everything that happened. An 80-year shared universe of continuity, but by reintroducing it into an infinite multiverse, it loosens the strings for storytelling going forward. The idea that now, post-Death Metal, all 80-plus years of mainline continuity is set inside continuity. Every story remembered by the characters, but going forward, their worlds out there and possibilities are infinite. However, it will have structure, it will have rules, there will be a framing system for stories at DC Comics going forward. Whatever reality, if any, that they take place in, and that the DC Omniverse special, whatever it will be called in March, will play it out over 80 pages. I don't know what else is to expect at this point, but possibly less Lodgman than last time. So I kind of get what they're going for. if this is true, if DC Comics is really going forward with destroying its continuity, the shared universe concept, in exchange for this new universe idea, the omniverse model, where everything is canon, everything happened, everything matters, sort of. It will be very weird, I think. Like, I'm all for continuity. I'm kind of a continuity junkie, and I do love a shared history. But I get what DC's going for with so much talent, so much writers and whatnot. It leads to confusing and eventually too many retcons to the point of insanity. Like, ever since Flashpoint happened, the New 52 happened, and there were so many editorial chaoses going on at the time. And then there was the whole Rebirth initiative, and then Dan DiDio got pissed at Jeff Johns because Jeff Johns was trying to fix stuff that he broke that should never have been broken in the first place. So then after Jeff Johns left, Dan DiDio tried to basically go back to the New 52. Then there was the stuff they were playing for 5G. Then that was scrapped when Dan DiDio left, and the DC initiative was eventually left in chaos because now it's like whatever happened in the Batman books doesn't matter in the Superman books. What happens in the Superman books don't matter in the Teen Titans books, save for a couple things since Bendis is involved in a lot of it. What happens in Nova Girl, not Nova Girl, what was I thinking? Like what happens in Green Lantern Far Sector doesn't matter, like say in the other Green Lantern books. So I get what they're going for, but it does worry me about this idea that they're just throwing it all away, throwing a sense of structure and history because then it's like if you don't have a continuity going on, it's like, well, it's more like a cartoon Saturday morning cartoon special. Oh, that's just there. It doesn't really matter the next week. Like each book's like their own shared universe. So yeah, and I am worried that this could lead to brand issues because if Batman's in here, if Batman shows up in like say in the Batman books, and then he also shows up in the Superman books, and they don't mention what's going on over here, and just act like nothing's happening over here, and then over here is the important part, then I think that might cause a conflict of interest of sorts with fans who want a shared history. So it is going to be interesting where they take this. I'm hoping they do something good, but I'm worried the omniverse model might not be a thing that sticks it might stick for a while, but it probably is not going to stick forever because, Crisis are like 5 years now. Unless they stop at death metal, which would be a freaking surprise. In fact, I'm surprised. Like Dan DiDio, wasn't it said that Dan DiDio wanted to call it Dark Crisis when metal was a thing? Could be wrong. I think that was it, but then they managed to convince him not to do that and originally go for a darker ending, but they said no. Yeah. So we'll have to see where this goes. I'm hoping for some good content along the way. We'll have to see. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. If I feel like, subscribe, donate to do for more. See y'all next time, and yeah, this was Neo Reality Collective, episode 41. See y'all next time. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.